So tonight's true scary story is going to be a little different because it's not about an email I got, it's about me and an attachment that I think I have had for a very long time. And I have told you guys a part of this story, but I have never told you the full story. So tonight I'm going to tell you the entire story. So bear with me and get through the part that you have already heard and listen to the full story because it is terrifying. Trigger warning, I do mention addiction in this quite a bit. So for those of you who know that I am in recovery, so I was an addict since I was 12 years old. I started drinking and then I progressed when I was 19 years old to schmugs. It wasn't until I was about 28 years old that I really changed my life. I am 35 years old right now, and I did have a little slip in between there, but I pretty much changed my life when I was 28 years old. But when I was 19 years old is when the really scary things started to happen. After high school, I had actually moved into an apartment in Jacksonville with a group of my high school friends. It was 4 of us. Now, it's important to note that at the same time, my mom lived in St. Augustine. So the first thing that I remember happening is I was in between work. So I was working a double shift that day. I worked at a restaurant and I was coming home in between shifts to take a nap because I was hungover as always, and I had fallen asleep on the couch. I was in a pretty deep sleep when suddenly I hear something get right in my ear. This woke me up, get right in my ear and say in the most guttural growl,
"Get the F out of my house, you pee."
I remember just waking up, sitting up and being like, my heart pounding out of my chest. Like I could not believe what I had just heard. So I was like, this is absolutely terrifying. I called my little sister and I was like, can you please come stay at my apartment with me? She was close. She lived with my mom. So my little sister ends up coming to my house and she ends up staying at my apartment with me. I woke up the next morning to my little sister coming in my room. She opened my door and she said, Kaisa, I remember looking at the time, it was 9 something a.m. And my sister said, Kaisa, you need to get up for work. And I was like, I know. And she closed the door. So I always slept with my door open because I was terrified of that apartment. Well, I fall back asleep, and as I'm sleeping, I have this dream that I was being rolled around in my covers, like someone had wrapped me around in my covers and rolled me off of my bed. And I remember feeling this incredibly dark energy, like I was really scared in my dream. It absolutely terrified me. And I woke up, I don't know how much longer later, and I was on the floor, rolled up in my covers, laying on the floor. Now, this obviously really scared me. So I was like, what the hell is going on here? But I had to go to work. I had actually woken up late for work, and I had remembered that my sister had come into my room and told me that I needed to get up for work. But then I remembered that she told me to get up for work at 9:30, which was really early in the morning for her to tell me to get up for work. So I thought that was odd. So I went out into the living room and I asked my roommate, what time did Megan leave? That's my sister's name. And she said last night. And I was like, what do you mean last night? She's like, she left last night. So I called my sister and I was like, did you wake me up this morning? Because mind you, my door was closed when I woke up. And she was like, no, I wasn't even at your house this morning. So this really freaked me out, but there was nothing that I could really do about it. I was living there. What was I going to do? A little bit later on, and I don't remember how much later on, I ended up going to stay at my mom's house. I was sleeping in my sister's room, and I remember sleeping, and I woke up because I heard a sound from the closet, and I didn't want to open my eyes at first. My eyes were closed, and I was just laying there, and my heart was pounding because I knew something was in the closet. And normally I wouldn't look, but I don't know why I did, but I looked. And there was a woman in the closet with short brown hair. I just saw her head. I didn't see anything else. And she was shaking her head back and forth really, really fast. And she had her mouth open and she was smiling. So like this. And I remember hearing a ha, ha, and then something went boom underneath the bed, and I jumped up out of that bed so fast. I ran and woke my mom up. I was absolutely hysterical. I was like, Mom, we need to go stay at a hotel. I'm not staying in this house. I just saw a woman in the closet. I was freaking out. I was so scared. And she's like, we're not going to go stay at a hotel. I will go in the room and I will sleep with you. Fast forward about 4 years later, and I move into an apartment in New Paltz, and I lived underneath one of my friends. He was a police officer. He's no longer with us today. I love him so much. May he rest in peace. It was a studio apartment. I do have to tell you that the bathroom was behind me. That's important to know. It was behind my bed. So I'm laying in bed one night and I hear this ting, 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 ting all over the walls. And I was like, what is that? What is that? And then I feel something right behind me. And in a woman's voice, I hear someone go, Kaisa, right in my ear. Mind you, I am alone at this point. So I ran out of that apartment so fast. We had steps that were behind like where the house was. I went outside and I sat on those steps. I did not think about the fact that the bathroom that I had just heard that whisper from was directly behind me. There was a bathroom window right behind me. So I'm sitting on these concrete steps. My heart is pounding out of my chest. I can't go back inside. It is super late, early in the morning, so I can't go wake up my friend. So I'm terrified just sitting in the backyard when suddenly I hear knock, knock, knock on the window behind me. And then I hear a woman's voice go, Kaisa, Kaisa, look at me. When I tell you guys that I've never been so scared in my entire life, I felt like I was gonna throw up. I could not believe what I was hearing. And then I hear it again, knock, knock, knock. Kaisa, I know you can hear me. Look at me. So I finally got up, I ran around the house, and I went and woke up my friend hysterically crying. Now I'm gonna fast forward to when I was 34 years old. This was only about like 7 months ago. Me and my boyfriend are sleeping in his apartment. And during this time, my entire life since that happened to me, constantly, every single night, I was constantly hearing a woman hum. Every single night. I still hear it to this day. And finally one day I say to my boyfriend, I'm like, listen, have you ever heard a like singing or humming at night? And he said yes, and he doesn't believe in the paranormal. You could see a ghost, he could see a ghost right in front of him, and he would not believe that it was paranormal. He would think that there was something scientific about it. So after he said yes, I was like, what do you mean yes? You're hearing it and you don't believe in the paranormal. Like, you hear what I hear. We're both hearing this. And he's like, it's not paranormal. It's gotta be someone in the building. And I'm like, someone in the building is singing in our vents every single night at 2 o'clock in the morning. We can't even hear people walk around in our building. We were in Manhattan. Like, the walls are so insulated. You cannot hear anybody. There was no way that it was, first of all, I knew it wasn't because I had been hearing this forever. But like the fact that he was hearing it too just validated what I was hearing. Well, we have this conversation and literally about 10 minutes later, he falls asleep and I'm working and I'm filming. When suddenly I hear him make this like really weird noise. He's making like a mumbling noise and I realize that he's having sleep paralysis. So I'm like, oh shit. So I get up, I go over to him and I wake him up and he goes like this and he's like, oh my God. And he starts laughing and I'm like, what is so funny? And he's like, something so terrifying just happened. And I was like, what? And he was like, I was sleeping and I guess I had sleep paralysis and there was this woman and she was standing in front of me and her mouth was gaped open and there was blood coming out of her mouth and she was screaming at me. And I was like, what? Like, that is crazy. We just had a conversation about hearing this humming and then you see that? Like, how are you not? But I didn't even try to argue with him because I know that he doesn't believe in that stuff. So there was no sense in doing it, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go back to doing what I was doing. When 2 minutes later, he's like, oh my God, Kaisa, I need a towel. I need a towel. And I look over and his nose is just pouring. Like, when I say like he had the worst nosebleed, it was so bad. So I go and I grab him like a tissue and I hand it to him and I just don't say anything to him. And I'm like, this is absolutely insane. Well, later on, I go to sleep that night and I fall asleep and I wake up and I'm in sleep paralysis. And as I'm in sleep paralysis, I hear something go. It starts laughing. I can't even mimic the laugh. It was like this deep, like raspy laugh. And it was laughing and it kept going, guys, so I am terrified. So I'm fighting to get out of the sleep paralysis and I finally do and I literally like gasp. As you know how sometimes when you get out of sleep paralysis and you're just like and you like jump out of bed so that you don't fall back asleep because you're so tired. Well, as I'm doing that and I'm wide awake and I'm jumping out of bed, I hear one more time, Kaisa. Absolutely scared the ever-loving shit out of me. Like, I was petrified. That scared me so much. So much stuff has happened to me that I have not talked about. And just recently, I have thought about talking about it. And I think I'm going to start talking about it more. But I have to end it here because we are literally going to hit 10 minutes soon. And this is getting really, really long. But what do you guys think of this story? What do you guys think is happening to me? Like, the woman, I definitely think has followed me throughout my life. And she definitely shows up in like negative parts of my life, whether like I stopped using a long time ago, but she was there when I was using. She's there when I go through something sad or bad. I know that she's not good, but I just want to know what you guys think of it. Like, what do you think is going on here? And that Kaisa that I heard in the sleep paralysis, that was a male's voice. That wasn't a woman's voice. And with that being said, I'm now going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. My Rita036 is my first shout out. Thank you so much for the comment that you left underneath my video. That was so sweet. And I really appreciate your support. I appreciate everyone's support right now more than you guys know. You're helping me more than you know. And your comment really meant so much to me. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you so much. I would not be able to do this without you. And you guys, people like you, help me through things like this. So I love you. Tamra Barnett too. Same thing, girl. Thank you so much for your encouraging words. It really means so much to me right now. People like you help me every single day and you don't even know it. So thank you for being a part of my little community. Thank you for commenting and pushing my videos out. Thank you so much for watching my videos. It means so much to me to have your support and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you and that I love you. My name is Kaisa and I tell true scary stories on here every single night that you guys submit to me. So if you're into that, hit that follow button and I just need you you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs.